LSR Radio. This is a special report, and I thought it was one that ought to be put out there. I know that I don't have a large audience, but hopefully it'll be shared out there with some of the things that we're dealing with across the world. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about, if you haven't already seen it in the headliner, is basically during the Davos gathering, the World Economic Summit, during a speech that George Soros gave, in my opinion, he threatened Trump. Now, normally I, don't pay too much attention to certain things that Soros does, but this one caught my attention real quick, and I'll just play the excerpt for you from the speech that, and it was not a primary leading speech, it was a sidebar speech given to a select few, and here is George Soros in his own words.
Clearly, I consider the Trump administration a danger to the world, but I regard it as a purely temporary phenomenon that will disappear in 2020 or even sooner. I give President Trump credit for motivating his core supporters brilliantly, but for every core supporter, he has created a greater number of core opponents who are equally strongly motivated. That's why I expect a Democratic landslide in 2018.
And there you heard it from George Soros himself. Now, what piqued me on this particular speech is it's an obvious threat towards President Trump, and the line of he doesn't expect him to be around long goes along with something that former Secretary of State under Hussein Obama said to the Palestinians in his visit this past week as well, when basically he used the same wordage to the Palestinians that Trump won't be around long. Now, I'm part of the JFK generation, the assassination of President Kennedy. So when I hear things like this, I try to pay close attention to it and try to delve into it a little bit. I mean, if you don't know who George Soros is, I'll include a couple of links on some special reports I did on George Soros down below on the YouTube channel for you to check out and listen to if you want to. But today, in this political atmosphere that we're living in, things like this, statements like this, especially the likes of George Soros, who most of you know was a Nazi collaborator from Hungary, turned on his fellow Jews and worked for the Nazis to exterminate them. And so he's not trustworthy. And you take a look at the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations. Well, they have some massively big corporate donors, and one of those corporate donors is the Soros. Oh, the word escapes me. The Soros Investment Foundation or Soros Investment Group, one of the two, and he has invested billions upon billions of dollars to overthrow countries around the world. I mean, you can Google it and find it for yourself if you're not familiar with it. And listening to what he said at Davos, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to go ahead and go for it. I think that Soros has a plan to assassinate President Trump. And I think a lot of the globalists are involved in that. I mean, why would John Kerry, former Secretary of State, say the exact same thing to the Palestinians Well, he won't be around long. Well, what does that mean? Are you going to try to overthrow him? Well, that's just as bad. Try to overthrow the president, duly elected president of the United States. No, George Soros, we know what you're saying. And to say that 2020, he's saying that President Trump won't be around for 2020. Well, why won't President Trump be around for 2020? Is President Trump just going to magically commit suicide? Or is Soros involved with the deep state here in the United States plan to assassinate President Trump? Why would you say he would not be around long? Why would you say 2020 he will be of no significance, basically? Because you have a plan, and there is a plan in place. It's just a method of picking the right time, picking the right place, picking the right circumstances. But see, what Soros doesn't get, because they're so disconnected from people, they have no clue about anything. I mean, Hungary and Poland and Russia have stood up to Soros and not playing his game, not going for the globalization, not going for migration into their countries. I mean, it's obvious what it is. I mean, if you haven't figured it out by now, I don't know if you'll ever figure it out. But if you want to figure it out, it's not hard to figure out. The information on Soros and the Soros Group is out there. I mean, you look at what's going on here in America with Adam Schiff, the Democrat representative that's on the House Intel Committee. He's been running like a scared rabbit since the thing about the Nunes memo came out. Why would he be freaking out so bad and trying to counterpunch so hard? Well, I don't know. Could it be that Adam Schiff's sister is married to one of the Soros sons? Yeah, see how deeply connected all this stuff is? You follow the things that's going on with the FBI. You follow the things that's going on in the DOJ. Now, I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here. And that's okay. Because one thing I learned being a soldier is you have to reemphasize the mission. You have to reemphasize why you are fighting where you are fighting. And you need to get your blood pumping on it. You need to feel it from time to time. And that's why I decided to come out and do this one on Soros, because right there, and the mainstream media, of course, is not going to cover, but right there in plain view, in plain sight, as they say, Soros has threatened President Trump. Soros has threatened to overthrow the American government. $18 billion that recently he's supposed to have released to help fund all of his little foundations, all of his Antifa groups, all of his pro-democracy groups, which is a load of crap. Well, you know, it's really kind of funny that he transfers that money, that $18 billion, and then within a month or so, President Trump signs an executive order basically saying those type Soros people, the Department of Treasury, can confiscate their funds and confiscate their assets. So I'm not really buying too much that Soros is putting in $18 billion to all of his organizations, to all of his minions, to all of his deep state. I think he's trying to hide a lot of his money because he knows that President Trump's on to him. And you take somebody like Soros and you back them into a corner, they're going to freak out and go to the extreme. Yeah, you can say that you heard it here on LSR Radio, but I do believe that Soros' speech and Soros' threats against President Trump in Switzerland at Davos at the World Economic Forum was telling the world that he's going to kill Trump because he is untouchable. He thinks he's untouchable. But let that sink in. These are the people that are trying to overthrow this nation. These are the people that are busting their ass to try to overthrow the world. And they have come close. And look at how many countries Soros has ruined financially, so he can make his billions. It's sad and it's pathetic. Soros is not a stupid man, but I do believe he is a man that's getting cornered, or he would not have come out and threatened the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. So I'm going to play the speech once more time, that little clip of the speech.
Clearly, I consider the Trump administration a danger to the world, but I regard it as a purely temporary phenomenon that will disappear in 2020 or even sooner. I give President Trump credit for motivating his core supporters brilliantly, but for every core supporter, he has created a greater number of core opponents who are equally strongly motivated. That's why I expect a Democratic landslide in 2018.
So there you have it, coming from George Soros himself. A threat to the President of the United States, a threat to overthrow our government. And you can say, well, he didn't say assassinate. You know, come on, people. Mature up. Take a hard, mature political look at what's going on in this world, and especially what's going on in the United States. You do not think that a person like this is below that? No. He wants so badly to overthrow America. And why does he want to overthrow America? Because we are the last freedom-loving people standing between him and total globalization. You know, he really literally wants to rule the world. Literally wants to rule the world. But I guess he learned a lot of that from hanging out with the SS in Hungary and listening to Hitler's propaganda of ruling the world. Anyway, thanks for listening. I do hope you'll take a hard look. Like I said, I'll leave those links below for you. And drive on, America. Drive on. We must be the resistance to the globalist and the takeover. This has been an LSR Radio Special Report, coming at you from the Okojo Frontier Studios in small town, that's right, small town rural America on the Missouri-Kansas border. Take care and God bless.